Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be recapping the Orioles and Rangers Game 3 that just ended about 10 minutes ago. The Orioles won yesterday's game to go up 1-0 in the series, and the Orioles unfortunately lose today's game 6-5 in extras. It's a heartbreaking loss for the Orioles. The Orioles are still without a walk-off win this season. They had a chance to do it today at the bottom of the 9th inning or the bottom of the 10th inning, but they just could not win. The offense just couldn't come up late in game and give them the lead and give them the win. But this was a very bizarre game for the Orioles and the Rangers as well. It was just a very bizarre game in general where the Orioles were getting no hit through the first 6 innings of this game. The Orioles did not have a single hit in the first 6 innings of this game. Then in the 7th inning, the Orioles go out there in the 7th inning and hit back-to-back home runs. First, it was Gary Sanchez hitting a 3-run homer. Then it was Ramon Urias hitting a solo home run, and then it was Ryan O'Hearn hitting a solo home run. So back-to-back home runs for the Orioles. And going into the bottom of the 7th inning, the Orioles were losing 4-0, and suddenly after those 3 home runs in a row, the Orioles took a 5-4 lead, and things were looking great for this Orioles team. There was 2 innings to go. The Orioles unfortunately, let up a run in the 8th inning. It was tied 5-5. And then obviously this game went into extras. The Rangers were able to score in the 10th inning to go up 6-5, and the Orioles just could not respond in the bottom of the 10th. And unfortunately, they lost 6-5 in a pretty heartbreaking and just bizarre game in general. A heartbreaking loss, bizarre game for the Orioles. They were hitting the ball very hard early on. It was just very hard hit lineouts, very hard hit groundouts. They were making good contact. They just couldn't get a hit. They finally had that inning where they kind of just exploded, scored 5 runs, and then unfortunately they weren't able to, walk it off in the end. The pitching wasn't necessarily amazing. The offense did its thing. They had that big inning, but they couldn't score outside of the 7th inning. They didn't score a single run. All their 5 runs came in that 7th inning. Obviously, the Orioles were down early thanks to Charlie Morton not necessarily having the greatest game or the greatest start today. And then the bullpen gave up a couple runs late in the game. And, unfortunately, the Orioles lose this game. It's a heartbreaking game. The Orioles really needed to go out there and win this game to have a chance to get the sweep tomorrow. But now the Orioles are suddenly playing for the series win tomorrow against the Rangers. And it's going to be a heavyweight battle. It's going to be Tomoyuki Sagano versus Jacob deGrom. It's the 2 best teams pitchers that they're throwing out there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun Game 3 tomorrow, fun rubber match tomorrow for the Orioles and Rangers. But this was a game that the Orioles really needed to win. Again, they could have gone for the sweep tomorrow if they won today. Obviously, it was looking really bad early, and then all of a sudden we took a lead, and then they tied it, and then we were losing, and then we just lost the game. And the Orioles are still the only team in baseball to not have a walk-off win yet, and it is almost July, so it's pretty crazy that's what's going on with the Orioles. But, again, heartbreaking loss. Tomorrow they have a chance to win the series, though. It would have been really nice to go for the sweep, especially with where they're at in the season. It would have been nice to go for a sweep, but unfortunately that was not the case, and hopefully all we can really do is hope that they win the series tomorrow. So let's just go over this game that happened today. So going over this Orioles and Rangers game, again, it was a very heartbreaking loss, bizarre game. That 5th inning or that 7th inning was insane, scoring 5 runs in that 7th inning off of back-to-back home runs. That was crazy. That was absolutely crazy, but unfortunately the bullpen gave up a couple runs, and the Orioles were already in a decent deficit early on. So, again, this is a collective loss all around. The Orioles in this game only put up 4 total hits, scored 5 runs off of it because it was, 3 homers that we hit. But unfortunately, it just was not enough to win this game, and we lose in extra innings. Being able to not score a run in the bottom of the 10th was a problem, man. And whenever you're in extras and you have that, and when you have the runner at second to start the inning, you have got to go out there and score no matter what, man. Like the Rangers were able to score 1 run, but at the same time, you kind of feel like you have a chance to, win the game with either a homer or, just tying the game at least and giving you another shot. But unfortunately, the Orioles were just not able to do that. was pretty unfortunate. They had the runner over at third. All they needed was, a long fly ball to get the runner in, and they could not do that, which was unfortunate. This was a loss that we just could not afford. I mean, again, every loss of this Orioles team, they can't afford any sort of loss. They especially can't afford a series loss, and they're fighting for the series tomorrow. But going over to the game today, going over the offense specifically, the Orioles offense had 4 total hits in this game, scored 5 runs. Obviously, the 3 homers were responsible for all of the runs scored in this game by the Orioles. And in this game, they were 1 for 3 with runners in scoring position. They left 3 guys on base, so not a lot of action on the base pads, but there was a lot of action when it comes to putting the ball over the fence. And leading off this game was Jackson Holliday. He went 0 for 4 in this game. Ramon Laureano goes 1 for 3. Gunnar Henderson goes 0 for 3 with a run scored. Gary Sanchez goes 1 for 3 with a 3-run homer. That one hit and that 1 for 3, 3-run home run by Gary Sanchez. He's been heating up, man. He's been getting base hits. He's been crushing home runs. It's been really cool to see from Gary. Obviously, Gary Sanchez is going to be pretty much the full-time catcher up until after All-Star break, because Adley's going to be on the IL until after All-Star break, is what Tony Mansolino said. So Gary Sanchez is your number 1 catcher right now, but he's been crushing baseballs, which is really cool to see. He has that 3-run homer that kind of got things started in the 7th inning. And then obviously that was followed by Ramon Urias, the next batter. They went back-to-back home runs on that. Ramon Urias goes 1 for 4 with a solo home run. It was an opposite field home run. Got a lot of power on it. Went right over the little fence going into Utah Street. So that was cool to see. Obviously they went back-to-back, and all of a sudden this game was tied 5-5. And then Ryan O'Hearn, Ryan O All-Star, the very next batter, goes back-to-back-to-back. Following Gary Sanchez, following Ramon Urias. Ryan O'Hearn hits a solo home run. He goes 1 for 4 with a solo home run in this game. And all of a sudden, the Orioles are winning this game 5-4. And then they obviously lose the game late, which is obviously unfortunate. But in that 7th inning, in the bottom of the 7th inning, it was absolutely electric to see what happened. Back-to-back home runs. It's the first time that's happened for the Orioles since 2023. So a little throwback to 2023 there with that 2023 Orioles roster. But Ryan O'Hearn continues to produce at a very high level. Ryan O All-Star is what a lot of people would say. He's going to be the starting DH for the American League at the All-Star game, so that's going to be so fun to see. Can't wait for that. Ryan O'Hearn goes out there, gets a home run today. You love to see it. Kobe Mayo in this game was playing first base. He doesn't get a hit. Cedric Mullins doesn't get a hit, and Dylan Carlson doesn't get a hit. So, again, overall, this was a very boring game. The only 4 guys with hits were Ramon Laureano, Ramon Urias, Ryan O'Hearn, and Gary Sanchez. And 3 of those 4 guys, 3 of the 4 hits that we had in this game were home runs, which is crazy to think about. 3 of the 4 hits that we had in this game total were home runs, and we were able to score 5 runs off of it. We just couldn't really get enough pressure early on. We couldn't really get anyone on base early on. Obviously, we were getting no hit for the first 6 innings of the game, and we only got walked twice, so we didn't really have any sort of motion on the base pads. And then in the 7th inning, obviously, they have the big inning to take the lead, and then they lose the game late. Just a very bizarre, weird game, but that's baseball sometimes, man. It's going to happen. Things are going to happen like that, and you just kind of got to move on, man. And again, the Orioles have been in that scenario where they can lose in such weird ways, but they just got to move on to the next day and keep going with this season. I will say another thing, though. The Orioles have lost 3 of their last 4 games, which is unfortunate to see, obviously. They just can't really find a rhythm right now, man. Again, they started off the season horribly. They got some guys back from injury. They went on a good run, and then they lose a couple guys to injury again, and now they're just back down here, losing 3 of their last 4. They can't find a rhythm, and they really got to go out there and win the series tomorrow. All that matters is they go out there, win the series tomorrow, go back to being 10 games below 500, and just move forward with the season. But they have to go out there and win tomorrow. If they lose tomorrow, then we're going to be in some big trouble, because we are about to hit July, and this Orioles team has had a good month of June. This has been their best month of the season so far. This is the best baseball that they're playing all season. But they just got to go out there and produce wins. It doesn't matter how they do it. They just got to go out there and produce wins. But going over to the pitching, Charlie Morton was starting in this game. He doesn't have a horrible game. He doesn't have a horrible game by any means. This game was very winnable with the start that he had. And this is the first loss in the past 6 games where we've lost with Charlie Morton starting. Before this game, we won the previous 5 games with him starting. We do lose this game, though. But he doesn't get credited the loss that did go to Sir Anthony Dominguez. But Charlie Morton in this game gets through 5 innings, gives up 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 runs, and has 3 strikeouts in the process. So again, only let up 6 total base runners, let up 3 runs, which isn't horrible. He doesn't have a horrible game at all. Goes 5 innings, you'll take that. 5 innings, 3 runs, you'll take that. That's a very winnable game. Unfortunately, the Orioles offense just got going a little bit too late, and the Rangers were able to respond and win this game in extras. Andrew Kittredge doesn't give up a run, gets into some traffic, 2 hits and a walk, but doesn't end up giving up a run. Keegan Aiken gives up a run. Gregory Soto also gives up a run. And then Sir Anthony Dominguez gives up a run in the 10th inning. And that eventually was the reason why the Orioles lost this game. But again, I probably would put this game a little bit more on the offense. The offense, had their big inning, but it kind of just got going late. I mean, when you get no hit through 6 innings, even if you have that big inning and come back, you got to get going earlier, man. You got to strike early in this game, and unfortunately, the Orioles offense couldn't do that. The pitching also gave up some runs late, so you put this game on them as well. Again, a collective loss, a collective team loss, but you just have to take it and move on tomorrow for the rubber match. Winner takes all in the series. And tomorrow it is going to be Jacob deGrom pitching for the Rangers, but we are moving Tomoyuki Sagano's start over to, I think, Friday for the start of the weekend series against the Rays. So tomorrow I think it's going to be Brandon Young pitching for the Orioles, and we'll see how far he goes. Again, I don't really have a lot of expectations for him because from what he's shown this season, he has not been great. But we'll see what happens tomorrow with that. Jacob deGrom, again, he's one of the greatest pitchers of this generation. Obviously, with the Mets, he was incredible. He still is one of the greatest pitchers of our generation. He's dealt with a lot of injuries in the past, but this season he's been healthy and he's been doing amazing this year. He's 7-2 with a 2.24 ERA, 87 strikeouts in 88 innings. Obviously, the strikeout numbers usually are a little bit higher for deGrom, but his ERA is very solid for this Rangers team, who has been struggling a little bit this year. So it is going to be a hard win tomorrow for the Orioles, but at the end of the day, every game is a hard game for the Orioles. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully the Orioles can get a win. Hopefully they can get to deGrom early, get to the bullpen early, because the Rangers bullpen has struggled this season. So hopefully we can just get to that bullpen as early as we can and go out there and win tomorrow, win the series. We'll all be in a good mood, and we can move on to the next series this weekend. Or they have a day off on Thursday, move on to the next series this weekend, get a win there, and just move forward throughout the season. If they want to get back into the season, if they want to make the season matter, if they don't want to just punt the season away, which obviously a lot of people already think that they're just going to punt the season away, which I don't blame them. But if they want to make the season count, if they want to make the season matter, then they got to get it going quick. Because if they don't get it going quick, they're going to be in a bad position going into the trade deadline, and they're going to have to trade away a lot of guys like Ryan O'Hearn, like Cedric Mullins, like Zach Eflin, like Tomoyuki Sagano, like Felix Bautista maybe. Like, they're going to have to trade away a lot of guys because they're on expiring contracts, and they're probably going to leave. So you might as well try and get something for them, and you move forward with that. We'll see what happens. There's still, over a month until then, so we'll see what happens until there. But again, the Orioles needed to win this game to try and get the sweep tomorrow, but they got to go out there tomorrow and get that series win in Game 3 of this series. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. Whether you're watching on YouTube and Spotify, if you want to keep up with more content, make sure to click the link in the bio of whatever platform you're listening on to follow my Twitter, follow my Instagram. I'm putting updates on both of those, posting on my Instagram, and I'm also live tweeting on X or Twitter. Live tweeting throughout the game, so you can see updates there. And also make sure to subscribe on YouTube and like the video as well, and make sure to drop a follow if you're listening on Spotify. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. Again, this show has been so much fun. This is episode 77. It's going to be episode 78 tomorrow. We're zooming through the show. We're almost at 100 episodes coming soon. Production is going to be getting leveled up soon as well. We got some things working behind the scenes with the show. Things are going to be fun. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me, all the streams on Spotify, all the views, everything like that. I appreciate it all. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this journey with me. Me being able to talk about my favorite teams in the world every single day, no matter if it's good, no matter if it's bad. It's sports, man. You got to live through it. You guys got to keep punching. You got to stick with your guys, because at the end of the day, when they win the big prize and when good things happen, it's worth it. So yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully, the Orioles can go out there tomorrow and get a series win over the Rangers. They cannot lose tomorrow. They cannot lose the series tomorrow. They cannot lose the series tomorrow. I'll say it over and over and over again. Must-win series game tomorrow. One of the most important probably series of the year for the Orioles tomorrow as well, because they got to go out there and win that series. They cannot afford to lose another series, but we'll see what happens. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. You have a great sales night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Go O's, go Ravens. Peace out.